Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of Super Rugby Pacific. This one, it is the Reds hosting the Highlanders. A very intriguing game. This Reds side have been looking solid enough throughout the start of their season. The Highlanders pulling off a great win over the Crusaders, narrowly losing to the Chiefs just last week. So they haven't had a game separated by more than 5 points. So it's very hard to tell exactly what's going to happen here at Suncorp. But if it's anything like these two sides playing last year, it should be close, should go right. Down to the wire, looking through at the starting lineups. First of all, for the Reds, it is Aidan Ross in the front row alongside Matt Faisler as well as Zane Ngor, Josh Kenham and Lukan Salakai-Aloro. They are going to be the locking duo. Fraser McWright returns in that loose forward trio as the number 7. Harry Wilson slots in at 8 after a bit of an injury stint. And Joe Bryle, he is there as the number 6. Wershon starts at 9, so still no Tate McDermott. Carter Gordon, though, he will be there as the number 10. Tim Ryan out on the left wing. Hunter Paisami and Josh Fluke as the middle. And then Lockie Anderson and Jock Campbell as the 14. And also 15 for the Highlanders, Ethan de Groot, Jack Taylor and Rowan Wingham. Same front row as we did see last week up against the Chiefs. Will Stoddard and Mitchell Dunshea as the locking duo. TK Howden, Sean Withy and Lucas Casey, the youngster, again given the opportunity in that number 8 jersey. Adam Lennox comes into the starting side rather than Folau Pakatavu, who will be making his way off of the bench. The very cool, calm and collector Cam Miller in the 10 jersey. Jonah Nariki, Timothy Tavatavanawai, Jonah Lowe, Caleb Tangitau and Jacob Ratamaitavuki Nipkins make up the rest of the Highlanders backs. Looking through at the chat, we have got the Highlanders by 17. Jonah Lowe for the first try, says Jason, and Landers win sure, says Salvador, although they do come in as slight underdogs for this matchup, fun fact, which some would say is surprising. But I do think that home field advantage for the Reds, it has done very nicely for them in the past. They have won the last 2 head-to-heads up against the Highlanders, but prior to that, the Highlanders had won the previous 2. So it could be the momentum switcher maybe here. See the Highlanders get back on that good streak, heading in the right direction. We have got there, hi Mr. Kiwi Sir, how are you? Done writing the exams for the week. It's once again Junior in there too. So yeah, hopefully your exams did end up going well. Ready for a match of rugby that hopefully will be a little bit closer than that last game. Western Force versus Moana Pacifica. It was anticipated to be maybe a little bit closer than it was. Let's go the Highlanders, F the Reds, says Kay Slade. And currently looking at this Reds side, they are doing relatively well in the overall standings. If we'll quickly go like this, they are sitting there in 9th. And I know you'd say that's not great, but at the same time, that is only 1 game under the belt. They did have the bye last week, so no matter what, I'd like to think that they'll receive at least a losing bonus point from this matchup. And if they did get themselves the win, they could potentially go maybe as high as 7th-ish, depending on what happens. If it is a pretty one-sided game, they could actually find themselves shooting right up to maybe 6th, maybe even 5th at the end of this match. But can they fire back? They did get beaten in their first matchup against the Waratahs in the opening round of Super Rugby Pacific, but I feel like they are better than that. We're going to see them go quite well. I've got there some useless information. The last 4 letters of Highlanders and Reds are the same letters. Well, there you go. Just rearranged a little bit in that case. And Hamish, when the All Blacks coach saga going to end? Sounds like a couple more weeks. Last I heard was they were flying to Japan to interview Dave Rennie. It sounded like Jamie Joseph said that he was sick of the process already. So, I don't know. A couple weeks. They can't leave it much later. The All Blacks are supposed to be playing in July. Do you think Vern Cotter is watching the Reds game tonight for the next season? See how his new team plays? See who he wants to keep for the 2027 season? I think that every smart Super Rugby coach watches every single game and doesn't just pick and choose which ones they watch. Like, any reasonably decent coach will watch all of these games. But, of course, having the ball in the court a little bit will mean that he's paying maybe a little bit closer. No one wants a job. I disagree. I think that there's about 2 or 3 who want the job, but New Zealand Rugby are obviously doing a patience test on them to see how long they'll wait before they say, you know what, stuff this, we don't want the job anymore. Maybe it's like a last man standing situation that they're trying to see who will have the most, I guess, the easiest to push around. And we'll see what happens. Like, the thing is, they could have named a coach 5 weeks ago if they really wanted to. But they went, no, you know what? We're going to find the right guy for the job. Who then, if he loses his first match, will think about sacking right from the get-go. Highlanders beat Crusaders in Christchurch, says Hobbit. They have indeed. And they also beat them down in Dunedin in the first round of this competition. We saw them have a narrow loss to the Chiefs. That was also down south. Nick Berry will be the referee in charge of this one. It's always interesting that he gets the Reds games. I know it splits opinions in that regard. What does the Kiwis artillery look like in the test match cricket lineup? I didn't even know they announced a test lineup. But I assume that's for the games up against South Africa, right? Or are they not? No, they're short format, actually, on New Zealand soil. Who do you think the new Blues coach will be? Any predictions? No idea, really. But we'll wait and see. I feel like they'll line someone decent up, I'd like to think. Normally it's a job that most coaches wouldn't mind having. That one's going to be taken by the Reds, just outside of their 22. Slight favourites for this contest, so we'll want to get a strong start going. Highlanders wearing the white with a little bit of the dark blue trim. The Reds in that classic maroon. In front of the Suncorp Stadium crowd. Tim Ryan goes up for the ball. It's going to be the advantage in favour of the Highlanders currently. Cam Miller looking to kick this one downfield. Surely Black Caps beat England tomorrow morning. They come in as underdogs, the Black Caps. But as long as, if they do lose, they only lose narrowly. They should still go ahead of Pakistan. But it's hard to tell what Sri Lanka are going to do now after their last loss. That one's going to be kicked downfield by the Reds. Nice kick from Carter Gordon for his first touch. Now Caleb Tangitau did score the last try of the match last week up against the Chiefs, showing some pure pace. But speaking of pace, here's Tim Ryan. Penalty, though, awarded to the Highlanders. Highlanders have just lost an assistant coach to higher honours, says Jason. Why don't Kiwi cricketers do the haka? They need the pumping up, says Joe Mann. And Crusaders tomorrow by 40 up against the Chiefs in Waikato. If that happens, something's gone drastically wrong and the Chiefs have probably got a couple cards. Hello, Hamish, says Q. Welcome in. And how are you doing today? I'm doing not too bad. I'm hoping for a close game here. That Western Force Moana game didn't quite give us that. Showers in Brisbane for this match. 24 degrees as the high. Only a little bit of wind, 9 kilometres, and straight away we see a bit of aggressiveness from the Highlanders kicking for the corner. We'll put them situated about 12 metres out from the Reds line. And here comes the line-out throw, nicely taken. Sean Withy going across to the left-hand side. Lucas Casey, big shot on him. Fighting for the ball, passed out to Jonah Lowe. Quite the skill of scoring quick-fire tries. Now across to Will Stoddart. Oh, he's back up on his feet and he is held up. It's very nicely done by Harry Wilson, getting underneath the ball. It was close to the steal. Pretty effective looking Highlanders backline. Should be interesting if the Reds can hang. Got their Lucy's back. Yeah, having Harry Wilson back into the mix alongside McBride and Bryle, like that is a dangerous three. So if they can find their rhythm early, they'll do well. How many hours are you doing this week? Says Kyle. In terms of the streaming, tomorrow we're live for about 11 hours, I believe it is. Somewhere around there. And now ball sits up at the back of the ruck for Adam Lennox to Mofi Tava Nawai. Moving away. Oh, Nariki smashed in the tackle. Tim Ryan kicks this one forward. It's going to be a foot race between him and Mofi Tava Nawai. Ryan needs to bounce at a ball. It sits up in the Bulldog. Has crossed between the goalposts. And the Reds strike first in Queensland. Now, maybe a knock-on from Hunter Paisami in the tackle. Maybe. So they're going to check this one to see whether or not it was Paisami who did get that one or whether it was off of his head. In terms of, whether knock-on or no knock-on, what they're going to be looking for. My prediction, Canes by at least 3 tries, Chiefs by 5, Blues by 14. And TM no. I know Nick Berry would referee this one, says Clifford. And the referee in charge, Nick Berry, now calling on his TMO Brett Cronin. Check whether or not there is the potential knock-on from Paisami. Yeah, clear knock-on. Off the hand of Hunter Paisami. That will be no try for Tim Ryan. That one's going to be taken away early. It did look awfully handish, but they obviously thought it came off the head of Paisami. Now, I assume they're just going to call that as a knock-on there rather than a deliberate one, as the arm was extended away from the body a bit by Paisami. And we have got the Springboks game was not showing because of copyrights, says Kyle. And also Chiefs suck in finals. And they have lost 4 out of 5 finals in the last 5 years, says Angie. They haven't quite been able to get over that final hurdle as of yet. But surely, eventually, the luck changes a little bit, doesn't it? And they must be playing the Chiefs under 13th to win by 40, says Jason. And get the Highlanders smash these fellas, respectfully, of course. All pick weights, very similar. 889 for the Reds, 899 for the Highlanders. And the Brumbies to beat the Blues by 8. Yeah, there's some intriguing games taking place tomorrow. This one's going to be fed in by the Highlanders. They're 40 metres out from the Reds line, and it's a big, solid scrum push. They're being told to use it. They had no Reds pack to push up against. They had all wheeled off the side. Now Cam Miller with a skip pass on the outside to Jonah Nariki. He's going to be partially charged down. Tangi Tau waiting for the bounce of the ball, but it sits up for Lockie Anderson. Now 4 minutes gone in this game. The Highlanders, you'd have to say, had a decent start with some possession, but the Reds looking dangerous on the counter-attack, almost scoring that try of Tim Ryan. Another prediction, Kiwi Rob. To complain about the ref as usual, says Q. And Blues beating the Brumbies, says K Slade. And that one's going to go into touch. This one will be about 25 metres out from the line. The Highlanders got themselves the line-out throw. Just showing there, Louis Wershon. He's quite a stocky number 9 in terms of his head's huge. It's about how I describe him. Solid hit on the shoulders. That one's going to be overthrown. Now nicely claimed in the middle of the field for Lockie Anderson. And thanks by Sami, the only Reds player in my fantasy team. Says Jason, now passed off. This is open space here. Harry Wilson is with him. Oh, that's a forward pass from the Reds, but they will let this one play out for a little bit longer, although I'd like to think the TMO will check it if anything does come of it. But now 10 metres out from their own line here, the Highlanders under a lot of pressure. And the ball now available. Should I check a bet on the Blues to beat the Brumbies? I would probably not recommend it. I don't recommend betting on anything, let alone Super Rugby. It's just too hard to predict. Now Cam Miller from inside of his in-goal area will boot this one downfield and it goes into touch. She's been a quick fire start to this game. Do you bet for England to beat the Black Caps, says Clifford? I wouldn't bet on it, but I think they've got a decent chance, England. And I mentioned about it earlier on. England are just as likely to have a tough game last game and then come out and score 250. Like, they're very unpredictable. But if some of their batters fire, it's going to be a big run chase. So, of course, New Zealand, if they set the total, might help them out a little bit. Now, Wershon going off to the right-hand side by Sami with the inside ball to Tim Ryan. That's going to be knocked out of his hands. Pass now across to Timothy Tabanawai for the Highlanders inside of the 22, now moving outside of it. All being tackled by Carter Gordon. Jonah Lowe plays half. Plenty of pace on the ball at the moment for these two sides. I think Wingham is a good player. I haven't seen him do too much wrong throughout the games. Of course, I don't normally keep an eye on the props as much as I should, just because scrums do seem to be quite the lottery, but he seems all right. I don't think he's done too much wrong. They have called for the 50-22, but it is just outside of the Highlanders' 22-metre line. A good kick downfield from Jock Campbell nonetheless. I thought there was a 50-22 just outside. In terms of where that ball's gone out, depends on who you talk to, really, and depends on the angle you look at. That one, the first angle they had looked like it was outside. Second angle looked a little bit closer to in, but it is a Highlanders line-out throw. There was a missed forward pass from the Reds earlier, so I feel like that probably evens that out a little bit. 40 metres out from their own line now for the Reds. Lockie Anderson, who's up to halfway line. A long time before anyone in the Highlanders made contact with him. Crusaders 100-60 tomorrow. See, if you had said 40-0, I would have believed it more, but 100-60. Are they have they made a rule no tackling in that game? Where can I watch this? It's available on Sky, on Stan Sport. All that's kicked out on the full from the Highlanders. Mistake there gives the Reds an attacking chance. Who's winning early? I'd say Reds look dangerous on the counter. Highlanders, when they get their ball in hand and start putting phases together, do look very handy too, though. Landers boys told me I was going to be a fast track at the airport, high-scoring fast, says Kane Woodham. And Amish is better than Aussie commentary, says Brandon. Now 8 minutes in. Throw here for Matt Fezler. Nicely taken Wershaw to Paisami. A collision with Sean Withy, one of the co-captains here for the Highlanders. And Jonah Lowe for the first try, please. The fact that you've said please kind of makes me think you've put a bet on it, Jason, rather than just... Or is that just so that you can potentially be right? He got close as well before. He was only a couple metres short. Offload to Jonah Nariki. Now Caleb Tangitau from inside of the 22. He's going to boot it in behind and chase after this one. Looks like Anderson should be able to get back and cover. Now the Reds going to create a chance. Inside of their 22. Campbell offloads to Wershaw. Now the elusive Josh Canham and Carter Gordon. There's Alumi there and also Caleb Tangitau and fine 40-0 to the Crusaders, says Ange. And believes this, the Chiefs are going to pump the Crusaders. There's Johnny Hall, loose ball picked up by Lennox. Looks for the offload to TK Howden. Knocked on again, so we'll go back for another scrum. Been a few of them so far throughout this match. First game back for Gordon. And oh yeah, the ball just slipped out of the hands a little bit there. We'll see a first initial knock on. Tangitau not Severeese in the ABs, please, says Shane. Yeah, there'll be some big decisions to make when it comes to who's out on the wings for the ABs. Also, they still need a coach, so that will help. Whether or not, if it was Jamie Joseph, would he look at two Highlanders men? And Tangitau and Nariki. Jacob Ratamaitavuki Netkins get into the fray as well. Or into the mix. There can only be one. I'm going to pick 4 game 1 fail. Moana Pacifica suck. Says Invincible. My pick 4 game 1. 4 game... Oh, sorry. For game 1. Sorry, I thought there was some sort of like multi thing you had. But no, for the first game. And down the Crusaders. Says Jason. And Crusaders don't lose. 3 can't underrate. Is Ardy available for AB selection? I believe so, due to him being on a sabbatical rather than a full-time contract. Now, there was the situation how he said, like, unless the rugby got sorted for New Zealand in terms of coaching and whatnot, he did say he was going to go on a long-term Japanese contract. Now, because of the change in coach, I believe he's taken that back and said, no, I'm not going to anymore. But that could all change. Down the Chiefs. Says Ange, and potentially being right, says Jason. Which was the score, or what was the score, says the AA underdog pick. If you don't mind a spoiler, I can let you know, score in that first game was 35-21 in the end, I believe. Cross kick attempted by the Highlanders. They did have penalty advantage. And how can the All Blacks be a team without a coach? Is not a real team in development at the moment, says Tanner 2. As Lennox from Taranaki, I believe so. I think he's played a few seasons for the NPC side. Now Highlanders, big choice here. I think they might be going for the corner once again. I'm sorry, but I don't think a coach should pick his former players if they aren't the best players, says Kiwi Rob. But one of the reasons they pick those players is because they think they are the best players. Like, you don't just pick a guy because he's from the team that you coached. Like, most of the time you pick him because you think he is the best man for the job and will work the best with your coaching tactics. Now, line out here. Just saying there, Ethan de Groot, the only man who's got a cap for the All Blacks across this whole Highlanders team. Hot take Waratahs will win Super Rugby Pacific. And force odds were massive. Yeah, about $2.50 underdogs, I think they were. Force in that game. Now breaking off the back. Sean Withy. That looked like another accidental knock on. This time from Aiden Ross. Physicality from Lucan Salakaya Lotto. Lennox across to Dunshay. Their defence already looks a lot stronger than it was in that first game up against the Waratahs, where they did concede a few slightly softer tries than they would have liked to. How long is Holland out for? The whole season. He might be back for the November internationals, though. Whole of Super Rugby, he's out. Tangitau, short side. Tackled by Tim Ryan. Now back to the left. Oh, thought about going The wider pass, but it finds De Groot's hands, looking for the steal and the breakdown, and Fraser McWright wins it. To be honest, you think Scott Barrett was the best candidate for All Black or for captain over the last 2 seasons, says Kiwi Rob. Do I think he was captain material? Probably not. Do I think he still should have been in the All Blacks? Yes. So the argument that you're making is completely different than the one that you just started like earlier on. You said about how players shouldn't be selected in the team, but people would still rate Scott Barrett as one of the better locks around for the job. It's just when you give him the captaincy, he just doesn't seem to perform as well. You're right, Hamish, but your coach needs to know when a player is over the hill, especially for wingers. Razor didn't. Sears Invincibles, yeah. Although Sever Reese, he sacked him when he probably, to be honest, shouldn't have. You know, Reese was actually in pretty good try-scoring nick, but because he didn't want to seem too biased towards the Crusaders, started sacking a few of those guys out of the side, and then, you know, Reese coming back, scoring those 2 tries kind of showed that he probably should have been in there earlier, even though people don't like him, but yeah. So that's the narrative. It seems to be, doesn't it? That one's going to be kicked in behind. It's a good kick from the Highlanders. They will get the 50-22. It looks like De Groot is still down with a bit of an injury here. I thought it was an absolute banger. Not for England, the way Ireland were absolutely banging England on the head. It was pretty entertaining, and W. Jack Taylor says PSG. Yeah, that Ireland-England game certainly didn't go the way that people expected. I came with him and said, you're speaking the Bible. And Ireland are getting too carried away with that victory. They're still an aging team. So who's your captain for 2026? Well, the thing is, it's probably going to be Artie. But because of the media and the way it's been speculated, some are going to try and rebel against that. So I think the crazy part is, depending on how many people like bought into the Savia like narrative, we might actually see him be less of a popular captain than Scott Barrett, depending on but I don't think that will happen. I think they'll still go Savia, and people will go, okay, we'll get over it and we'll accept that. But yeah, it'll be intriguing. They're not going to come back as the same side as they were, I don't think, because now, you know, if you're the coach, are you worried that any wrong move you make or any player you annoy is going to get you kicked out the door? Is Rich Mo'unga still coming back? I believe so, although I wouldn't be surprised if he has a big money deal somewhere else for 2028 lined up. A long time no see. He still be playing Xbox, says Marcus. I try to, but I don't get that much of a chance. I want Rugby 25 to be good, because then we can start doing like a career mode, and then I'll get more time to be able to play it through that. They have another penalty advantage there for the Reds, and they do win the penalty at scrum time. And I says it is there from Chivanel. Welcome in. And Artie severely is our rugby god currently on sabbatical. No, Hamish Reese is too slow now. I don't know if he's too slow. I think it's just the way that wingers now play. The game's kind of changed a little bit. They all seem to think that you need 1,000 miles of pace, but I think it's going to be high balls is the thing that will get guys into the team now. When you look at so much kicking and the back and forth kind of aerial challenges that you see at international rugby now, you need guys who can take those balls 9 times out of 10, and that's where Reese's height, I think, is probably the thing that took him out of the side more so than pace. Can't wait. New Zealand rugby starts on Saturday. NRL starts on Saturday, says Marcus. On Sunday. I tell you what, I butchered reading that, didn't I? Now Highlanders in possession, sitting 25 metres out from their line. This one now, Lennox. Kicking this way downfield. That's me, Kyle, by the way. Used to watch. Oh, you've changed your name. Maybe. So it's got at Marcus Matu now. But if that's the original Kyle from like 5 years ago, it's a bit of a throwback. You might have even been there when my Xbox blew up. Going off to the left-hand side now. Chance to fire it on. Brawl goes to Hunter Paisami. Bumps off Tangi Tau. Oh, looking for the steal and the breakdown. It was a decent bit of work from one of the Highlanders player. The ball has been knocked backwards though. Aidan Ross. Where's Sean? Up to 17 minutes and we haven't seen a single point scored between these two sides. They've actually had a lot of chances, but no one has been going for the threes. That was a bit of a shot from Jonah Narik. A big smashing shot as well. This ball should sit up for Mick Wright and does. And they might check this to make sure it's all smooth, but I believe Fraser McWright has now got the first try of the match. But that was quite the build-up. Would be favourable to Cody Taylor being All Blacks captain, says Jason. High balls and kick chase, like the BLBRA. Right, I think they are checking this just to make sure everything is all right here. Okay, it's hit his foot, definitely not a knock-on. Okay, sounds like they can keep lining up, though. They're just going to check this one. The pass of Harry Wilson, does that go forward? It's flat. Yeah, tries to grapple. Wait, I think Tim Ryan may have actually been in front of him there from that angle. I think there's a lot that they have to check here, and whether or not they do, we'll wait and see. But that, from that replay angle, kind of looked like Ryan may have been in front. Unless he had a really quick fire start. He does kick the ball. Was Ryan behind him here? I'm going to go back and do a little bit of TMOing of my own. Right, where does Ryan come from? Tim Ryan's offside there, I think. Yeah, it looks like Tim Ryan's in front by about half a metre, but they have cleared everything, and the try will be awarded to McWright. I think there was so much that happened in that situation that they forgot about checking offside. I took a couple of years off the internet and recently got back on YouTube, so yeah, hopefully you have been doing well then. In that case, Kyle, I remember we played GTA years ago together and your Xbox blew up the next day. Yeah, that was an interesting stream, that one, that it blew up. I didn't really know what to do other than just end. That was while George was playing too, but 7-0 now. It has to be a knock-on in there. Yeah, there's certainly offside, but that wasn't checked. So 7-0 now to the Reds. And Hamish, I would have Will Jordan be at 15, Caleb at 14. I would have the Hurricanes winger at 11 for the All Blacks. CSQ. Okay, so you go with Fihi Whitianofo. Even, would you go with him though he's going overseas? So he is going to be leaving next year, sadly. They didn't quite keep him in New Zealand. Vershawn will kick this one downfield. And 0-0. 90 minutes in a Ruggers game, especially super, quite rare. Now, oh, nice take. Gordon. Oh, Banana kicks straight into touch. I wanted the TMO check every try, says K Slade. Normally, if there's any sort of doubt, which in rugby, because of so many quick-fire little moments that can happen, that doubt creeps in quite a bit. And Highlanders stay positive, play wide and straight. What I would try to do, if I was the All Blacks coach, is convincing to stay and give him a contract, says Q. Oh. Okay, they're actually doing an HIA here. Who's that? Oh, it's Jonah Nariki. He'll be taken off, so that is for Tenuelu Talea. Potato top savouries going in the air fryer currently, says Jason. See, do you flip them upside down when you're cooking them in the air fryer, or would that make the potato top go a bit funny? Because I know normally with a pie, if you want to cook it through nicely, you kind of flip it halfway through, don't you? But potato top might be a bit of a tricky situation. Now Lennox going away to the right-hand side. Cam Miller looking for the boot in behind. It's safely taken in the 22 with the mark called. Hamish wins in Hamilton tomorrow. It will be very intriguing to see if the Crusaders have got that next gear in them, because their game up against the Brumbies was one of the worst performances we've seen from the Crusaders. And the week prior, up against the Highlanders, was also pretty rough. So, oh, that was not straight. Someone called it, and Nick Berry did not. So it is going to be play on for the Highlanders now. Carter Gordon, Australia's 10. He could be in the running. Jacob Ratamatavuki Nepkins joins the line now. Caleb Tangitau, flat pass on the outside to TK Howden. Dragged down by Lukan Salakai Lotto. Back across to the left. Casey almost sneaking through. So many errors, Holy. Says Alumi there. Now, oh yeah, now drop ball. Another drop ball. This time it does go forward off Cam Miller's hands. Will be the scrum feed. You're still playing cricket? Occasionally. Not as much as I was at the start of the season, purely because there's a lot of afternoon games in Super Rugby, and the early evening games we don't actually finish in time. But I am coaching kids cricket, so that normally takes up the Saturday mornings now. But yeah, like tomorrow I could have played, but I'm going to be streaming during the day instead. Also, Hamish, for Wales to lose the way they did against Scotland. The way we did was embarrassing, especially when we were 20-5 up. Not even going to bother to watch Wales again until something gets done about Welsh rugby big time. Yeah, and I mentioned about it at the time, how for Wales, a close loss doesn't do a lot for them because once again, it's that whole thing of, like, almost. Whereas I think if they had beaten Scotland, that could have been, like, the win that they needed to get them back on track. But now there's still a little bit of doubt. Come on, Kiwis, even though you're from the South Island, we love you. Says Naz Williams, that's going to be the penalty at scrum time for the Reds again. It was literally the worst last 20 minutes of the game I see Wales ever played. And Paul Nariki says Invincibles. Yeah, currently still off for that HIA. And the replay looked like he caught a bit of a nasty knock to the jaw. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's out. Wales were much improved, says Sam. Seeing that scrum again. Didn't quite get that ball in just on that far side. I think it was the Ross and Wingham side. Timothy has jet lag, says Kane Woodham. That must make it difficult. Like, to play a game of rugby. Where was he beforehand, though? Did he get jet lag from coming from New Zealand? I thought it had to be like a relatively long flight for jet lag. I guess any flying would give you some chance of it, right? It just has to be a time zone change. Now this one's going to be kicked downfield from Lennox. Tenuila Talia chasing after it, but it is claimed by Lockie Anderson. Now Tim Ryan passes across to the left. Another offload slapped back by Gordon. Paisami has Wilson with him, clapping their hands on the outside. I think that was maybe Josh Fluke, I should say. Nariki, a link man, get up, says Shane. Oh, Waikato pass to Zane Ungor, looping around now. This time it's Jock Campbell. Ball still there with the Reds. Paisami, inside pass to Gordon. Nice stepping, almost managed to get round Timothy Tavatanawai. Bryle does the double sell of the dummy. Never quite got his pass away. And they've at Japan, says Samuel. Does Artie have the ruthlessness and authority to be captain? With Sia Khaleesi always keeps the standard of physicality high. He smashes the ruck, he smashes the tackle, he smashes the carries. Says Tanner. I think that Savia has done that. I think he'd still have it in him, to be fair. Oh, that's gone through the legs of Jacob Ratamaitavuki Nepkins, and that is going to bring a line out for this Red side now, 20 metres out from the Landers line. I picked the Reds to win, says Invincibles. Steve Tandy being in charge 10 minutes. Says Samuel, an interesting question for all. When exactly did New Zealand become Aotearoa and why? Says Jason, that sounds like a good question for Google, doesn't it? Because I'm sure there's answer on there. Artie is the best. We got Sun. You have an excuse for every negative thought, says Sam. Now line out throw here for Matty Fezler. Nicely taken by Canham. Fraser McWright across to Paisami. There's an advantage here for playing the arm. And the line out where Sean goes to Fezler again. And damn, I picked the Highlanders, although the game's not over yet. They're 7-0 down. Still plenty of time left in this contest, though. Now Ngor. Where Sean chipped in behind Tim Ryan, chasing this one. Tangitau had it covered. 7 or 8. As in, like, the points, they've got 7 at this stage. Oh, no, you're talking about Artie Savia, where to play him. Sorry. I think you've got to go 7. But I think there are still a lot of question marks around that 6 jersey for New Zealand, whether or not a new coach would look at Tupavai as that 6, or whether they go Simon Parker, Samapeni Finau, whether you go back to Blackadder, whether you see a new guy in there, like one of the younger guys. You could see Flanders, he was on the verge of getting in not too long ago. I don't know, there's some big question marks. Wallace Satiti, do you revert him back to number 6? And nice, I didn't even look at the points. Says the underdog pick. Now this one's thrown in. Taken again at line out time from Bryle. Matty Fezler. This is moving in the right direction for the Reds. The Highlanders trying to push it towards the sideline, but in doing so, leave a massive gap behind And Matty Fessler in for a try. Second of the match now for this Reds team. If you want to try placing winning bets, just ask me what I bet on and pick the other team. And Shannon Frizzell. Yes, see, New Zealand Rugby, they're happy to change the coach, not happy to change the eligibility laws or rules for Kiwi players overseas. There's probably another reason why Robertson didn't sit too well with them, because he was one who said we need to get rid of that. Yep, Highlanders are done for. Says user. And it would not sure be nice to have Shannon Frizzell and Brodie Retallick back. Says Tanner too. That's going to be thrown into touch in celebration though by Fessler. No late, but almost there. And something brewing in Australian rugby this year. They all look so good, says Chris Lord. Now Wershong off the kicking tee. He's sitting 1 from 1. Misses that one away to the side. And 28 minutes in, it is 12-0 now for the Reds. It'd be nice to have Shannon Frizzell and Brodie Retallick back, says Tanner too. Right, that is a handy lead at the moment. Do you see Larkai as a 7 or an 8? Honestly, if he's in the All Blacks, I'm happy enough. I don't mind whether he plays the 7 or the 8 role, just get him in there. So, but out of those two, I actually do think he's probably a bit more of a 7. But then, of course, if Savi is playing 7, like, you're not going to get any minutes, similar to what we saw for him at the Canes for a while. Debatable, says Kane with him. A day off Highlanders, what's going on, says Shane. They haven't quite started this one too flash. I believe that Jonah Nariki is still off the field. We haven't had news that he's passed his HIA as of yet. That's accidental offside from Adam Lennox. It is going to be the free kick now for the Reds. Speaking of Shannon Frizzell, his brother is playing in Las Vegas this weekend, Leagueies and Rugby's. Says Nazi. Who's your fantasy rugby captain this week? I don't actually do fantasy, but if I had to pick a random guy to be my captain, that's another penalty. Who would I go with? I'd probably go Roygaard up against the Fijian draw. He should go all right. Can Islanders bring it back? Yeah, there's still time. I don't think that they're in a terrible spot yet. They've just won the penalty. And Fabian Holland as a starter has boosted the bench. Says the AI underdog pick. No one's put into touch by the Landers. 30 minutes through this one. The Reds have regressed. So many errors, says Mongrel, and 0 on the scoreboard, says Matthias, and come on the Landers, says Jesse there. But yeah, like, even with the errors though, the Reds, they have still got themselves the 2 tries, which I feel is the current difference between the sides. The Highlanders have made their fair share of errors as well, but they haven't got anything to show for it on the board yet. But it's a good chance to go now. Timothy Tava Nawai bumps off Harry Wilson. So legs pumping, 25 out. You ain't replacing Hardy, son, says Shane. Oh, Jack Taylor, that's a huge gap. Passes off to Adam Lennox, and he will get over for the Highlanders. They score their first of the match. 2 score difference, you want 10 minutes. A best score to feel safe, says Kevs, and just like that, it's now 1 score difference between these two sides. Adam Lennox and the number 9 jersey. The big threats to South Africa for next World Cup is going to be France or Australia. And I agree with Beav Lakai as Baby Artie. And also, let's go, says Kane. And also, we have got there Good Eye. Down the middle, he's solid. And yeah, that's a great pick and go from Jack Taylor. Saw the gap, and then the support run from Lennox. Tim Ryan tried to slap it out of his hand. Just ended up in that scenario where there was just a big gap in behind that possibly shouldn't have been there. I'd say I'd have Larkai over Savia right now, says Nazi. And come on, says User. That kick has also gone over, making the score now 12 points to 7 after 31 minutes. You see it there, Taylor just quick off the mark. Saw the space and made the most of it. Lucas Casey going to be the breakout story for the All Blacks this year. He's the future number 7 for the All Blacks. Does another coach that's not Jamie Joseph pick him, though? Like, let's just say, for instance, Dave Rennie's in charge. Now, of course, this is all speculation. Does he get into Dave Rennie's squad? Or is he one that maybe only with Jamie Joseph would he get in this soon? Right, back on to the... Oh, no, in fact, a new player on the field. Matty Fessler's gone off, and that is for Josh Nasser. It's kicked high by the Highlanders. Now Carter Gordon passes across to Joe Bryle. He's just jogging it up, trying to find the gap. Taniwelu Talia. He's in his way straight away. And same Nazi says Broderick. Watching Artie's running style, he's always limping. I love the bloke though, his body's shot. Says Nazi. At the back row in 2028 will be 6 Wallace, 7 Lucas Casey, 8 Peter Larkoi. Says Q. But the ball's still there for the Reds, just inside of their own territory. That's good because if Artie gets injured, then we have Peter Larkoi to cover 7. That's a great option to have. Not bad at all. And who's the best number 10 in Super Rugby so far? Ooh. Who would you go with? I was going to say that off the kicking tee, I mean, Cam Miller's right up there. I don't know whether he'd get best 10 in the comp, though. A lot of sides haven't gone with the same 10 twice in a row. There's been a bit of rotation for certain teams. Who's the Brumbies 10 at the moment? I can't even remember. Nice inside ball. Pellegrini's actually, he done all right in the first couple weeks for Moana, but of course that doesn't look that great when they've just lost. And he was at the helm, Zane and Gore. By Taniwelu Talia. And Chris Lord Damien says Q. He hasn't played so far. Damien McKenzie, he hasn't even had a minute out there on the park. And Satiti will go to 6, Larkoi 7, Artie 8. Now Gordon moves it away to Fluke. Short ball to Broyle. Numbers on the outside. Fraser McWright goes to Tim Ryan and he will score the try. Last pass was flat. So that might be what they check this time. They seem to want to check something every single time that the Reds score. So I think they'll check this one too. But Tim Ryan goes in for a try here in the 35th minute of the game. Right. Let's look at this pass one more time from McWright. Nah, that's fine. Close enough. Rummy centre Declan Meredith. He's been going all right, hasn't he? So far throughout the first couple games. Obstruction, no one cares about that anymore. Yeah, obstruction seems to be just one of those forgotten rules that they only bring up every once in a while. Or sorry, laws. Anytime you say rules, people get angry. And Landers are done, says User. Yeah, it's just a good backline, isn't it? Finishing it off well, Tim Ryan, the Bulldog. Oof. Kick at the post. I'm never going to bark again. That's why I don't bark. Anyone who goes give us a bark, that's why I don't. It's just not a good one. That one has gone over. Good kick from Wershon. Making the score now 19 points to 17. It's not the best, but it does the trick. And given for the 2027 World Cup, I'll be Ethan Blackadder, Savia, Wallace, Atiti on the subs. And come on the Highlanders. So here's Nazi, Tim Ryan. That is his 13th of his career, 2nd of the season. 19-7. This is where the Highlanders have to be very careful. They cannot afford to concede again before the end of the first half. Woof. Shame. But now, 4 minutes left. Nariki, I still don't think has returned yet. Which is not ideal. Now told to use it. Heck yeah, says Mark and Jamie Joseph Hype. You are more of a yapper, Hamish. That's why we like you. And it's a dilemma if you start a player too early. In the All Blacks, they will fail. And if you take too long, we'll go overseas to play. A real juggling act. Yeah, look at someone like a Fihi Finianofo. How, he probably would have been in the All Blacks within the next 2 or so years, but is now going overseas. Just as he started to hit his peak. Wow, that's a shot and a half from Lukan Solakai Lotto. Double knock on there, mainly from the Highlanders. I feel like Australian rugby teams know their ID so well. I love their attack. Brumbies, Waratahs, Reds all firing, and this coming from a Crusader supporter. Highlanders looking sharp though. Says Chris. And TAB has the Reds as favourites. They were favourites right from the get-go. They have won the last 2 head-to-heads up against the Highlanders. One down in Dunedin last year and the one prior in Queensland the year 2024, I think it was. Jamie Joseph's like, hurry up and call me AB's coach before the Landers lose. Most games will ruin my chance. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Right after that Crusaders victory, everyone went, yep, he's got the job. And now, you're just in that waiting period. And I think he's shown frustration with how long it's taken. They really should have had it slightly organised before deciding to get rid of Scott Robertson. That bench is not robust enough. We need coming off the bench and causing havoc, says Tanatu for the Polynesian players. I like what Rugby Australia are doing with the Pritchard brothers. I hope it keeps them away from league now. Gordon goes to Paisami. Beautiful loop around play here from the Reds. Tim Ryan might be in again here if the Highlanders aren't careful. Jock Campbell moves that little bit further forward. And Gordon across to Paisami, running behind a couple of his teammates. Now the big fend on Dunshay. Gets round the outside. Hey, it's Nariki. He's missed the tackle though. But he's back out there. Can the Landers do it? That's the question. Says User. If they're going to, they can't afford to concede again before halftime. If they score before halftime, though, they've got about 90 seconds to do it. In fact, a little bit less. And maybe there's a chance to off there. Tava Nawa. That's a great shot from Gordon. Cam Miller, isolator. Fraser McRide all over him, but can't quite get that steal. Tangitau was calling for it short side, but now the Reds have got themselves set in defence. What's that? I think it was part of that man's strapping on his leg was dangling down. And almost there says the AI underdog pick. Now kicked high. Oh. No, penalty awarded. Tangitau, it looked like he was going to go for the man rather than the ball. And I think he pulled out of it. But it's a big penalty won by the Reds. Going to see the replay now. Yeah, he does pull out of it, but does still end up getting penalised for it there, Tangitau. Taking the man in the air. If you can't beat the Reds, then damn AB's in trouble, says Shane. And we have got there, almost there. And Reds have gone, or have gone for goal, sorry. Or should have gone for goal, although it's relatively far out, isn't it? On the angle, about 55 metres. If they score now, they get into a position of a bonus point too. I'm sure will make them a very happy side. Only 20 seconds remaining in the first half, though. Johnny Blaze, the man. Says Nazi there. Now thrown in. That was by Josh Nassau, who they now pass the ball back to. Beautiful hands here from the Reds. That is a classic set piece. Almost trying up there into touch. And that'll be the end of the half. It's really nice distribution, though, between McWright and Nassar down the wing. Cam would make it, says Kane would. And also, we had there, if anyone can, a Kiwi can. Says Shane, but halftime now. It is 19 points to 7. And Dan made it, says the AA underdog pick. And Jamie Joseph, Rennie and Stone Cold Steve Hansen, on an advisory role and a foreign coach, Shucks Araneba, or La Rochelle coach guy. Although Jamie, I keep on calling him Jonathan, but Jamie Joseph and Dave Rennie, I think, have both said they don't want to be co-coaches or have any sort of assistant coach role is the tricky part there. The only thing that annoys me about the Aussie teams is that small issue of them being full of Australians. Says Jason, I seen you on those Graylin Ponsonby clips, respect. I assume that's Johnny Blaze, right? We suck, says Highlanders fan. It could have been a better half, that is for sure, but it's not over yet. This game is exciting, but I don't have the ref in my pocket. But now second half. It's going to take a bit of a comeback here. Tangitau doesn't busy himself that much as a winger. Not ready for the big leagues yet, says Broderick Fall. He hasn't had a huge amount of the possession as of yet out on that wing. In fact, neither wing has actually touched the ball that much for the Highlanders. I think that Nariki had one carry. Tanuelu Talia, from the time that he was on, I can't remember a touch. Tavatava Nawai needs to pass more, says Highlanders. Who's the ref? It is Nick Berry. Jonathan Joseph, yeah, I'm thinking of him rather than Jamie Joseph when I say Jonathan. Is he still playing rugby, Jonathan Joseph? Or is he retired? We'll have a look. Jonathan Joseph, he's 34 years of age. Yeah, he's a retired rugby player. And Fair says the AI underdog pick. And surely the Highlanders have the lowest amount of international cap players. Well, fun fact, Ethan de Groot's the only player across their whole 23, across their whole starting lineup who has got a cap for the All Blacks. Or at least that's a stat. No, that's wrong. Because Timothy Tavatavanawai's got a cap. What were the commentators on about? They said that stat at the start of the game and it didn't sound right. So obviously they meant the forward pack maybe. Or else that's just the wrong stat completely. I pass it out and back the skill set, says Shane. Yeah, I mean, you look at this back three. Jonah Nariki, Caleb Tangitau, Jacob Rata, Maitavuki, Nipkins. Like, there's enough talent there to get something going. Of that try in the Six Nations last year or before, no gooder. Says the AI underdog pick. And this year it will be Taylor, Tangitau, Jacob Rata, Maitavuki, Nipkins, trust me. As in like All Blacks or what? I'd imagine if all the Highlanders squad was all captains and fight blew up between Reds and them and the Reds asked for the captains for the Landers to talk to them, whole team walks up. I think that'd probably restrict them a little bit. But sometimes you do see different captains going up depending on if the captain's been sent off. I guess the All Blacks, says Highlanders fan. A lot of promise in the Landers talent pool. They try between hooker and halfback. Neither have much hype, but got to keep an eye on those two. And I do think that Adam Lennox this year, because of no Dylan Pledger, has a real opportunity to show exactly what he can do. He's strong for Taranaki and the NPC. And this is probably the big chance that he will have to be able to really show like what kind of skill set he's got. Definitely if he does things better than Falau Fakatava, which is relatively tricky to do because Fakatava off the bench here will bring a bit of an impact himself. And Jacob Ratamaitavuki Nipkins doesn't have a chance. Says a lummy there. Does anyone think the Highlanders can come back, says User? They have to score the first try in the second half, I think. If the Reds get one more, I don't see the Highlanders getting back in. But if the Highlanders are the first strikers in the second half, that can change a lot. The Highlanders have only won 4 times in 30 years in Brisbane. Says Invincibles. Yeah, that record doesn't really help them, does it? But anything can happen. Adam Lennox can be the number 3 halfback. The All Blacks, in the All Blacks behind Roygard and Hotham. Oh, okay. So Roygard, Hotham as your secondary. You've gone Lennox as your third. Who's your 4th and 5th out of curiosity, the Sporting Kiwi? And me news, my 12-year-old son has been invited to Hamilton Boys High School to take part in some training for the Year 9 and Year 10s. Good stuff. Hopefully he does. Well, I assume you're going to say yes rather than no, ideally. But that's where you want him, right? From memory. And he's going to play rugby league as well. He can play both Saturday and Sunday games, says Johnny. And surprisingly, past few years, Super Rugby, as any star player, surprisingly been quiet. I'd say Caleb Clark, to be honest. And I know that some would go, he's not a star player. But he can be. And it just seems to be the way that the Blues play. That ball doesn't get out to him at this stage. So he's probably the biggest one, I would say, that like last season and the season coming like now, it just doesn't look like he's going to get a huge amount of chance. 4 would be Sam Nock and 5 would be Ratama. Says a Sporting Kiwi. And my school didn't allow me to play rugby league. Says a Lummy. You think we can win this? If they score next for the Highlanders, they've got a chance. But I think one more gets them probably in the wrong direction. There was a nice setup try, though, from the Highlanders. The quick thinking of Jack Taylor. In fact, I think every hooker in this game has done well. We saw Matty Fiesler score himself the early try before going off. Josh Nasser had some nice build-up play with Fraser McWright right at the end of this game. And then Jack Taylor having some good moments too out there. Any players you surprisingly think is underutilised despite being a good player? Says Mark, underutilised. So we're talking someone who's in a squad but hardly gets game time, right? See, it's very hard to think of anyone other than these two sides just because we're watching them play currently. And it's tricky because there's a lot of guys injured too. Underutilised. I would say someone who I'm glad's not going to be underutilised is Ioane Moananu. Now, that's not quite what you asked, but he is going to be hopefully one of the key players for the Waratahs now. Scored himself 2 tries on the debut as well. New Zealand has a stack of raw talent at halfback. It's all about coaches getting the most out of each. Underdog tag means nothing, I assume that is. Ask Argentina. Action's back with courage, wins rugby games. I see Kieran Tomaflau already being dropped to the Chiefs reserve team. Actually, that's probably a really good point. I get why they signed him because he's a great player, but did they really need him, the Chiefs, when they've got Leroy Carter, they've got Moni Narawa, they've got a Tenai Nana Saturo, all those type of players who can play out on the wing. Daniel Rona can theoretically go out on the wing as well. Liam Coombs Favlik. Did they really need another wing of the Chiefs? Tangunu. There's Chris Lord. Yeah, he's going to be making his way off the bench in this contest alongside Harry McLaughlin-Phillips. Hamish, I've just seen the Dan Hook allegations. What do you reckon? They sound dodgy to me. I haven't actually read into it. But I know that I think he tweeted something afterwards saying, apparently I'm now such and such. But I haven't actually read any more depth into it, really. I shouldn't have signed Kieran Tomaflau. It would have been better suited to Moana. He would have got a lot more game time for Moana Pacifica and probably would have potentially scored more tries too. Chiefs haven't really been able to find him yet, but now that they've got Narawa and Carter out on the wings, I just don't see a way that you get Tomaflau in there unless maybe as a 15. Yeah, bro, Kieran's been shocking so far, says Invincibles. And got sidetracked and look at the score. Landers wake up, says Moa Hunters. Yeah, currently half-time in this contest. Also, for anyone wondering what is coming up for these two sides, for the Highlanders, in terms of their next 4 games throughout March, they have got the Western Force next week. They've got the Crusaders the week after, so that will be a rematch of the game that we've already seen take place in this season. And then the Highlanders playing the Hurricanes the week after, followed by Moana Pacifica versus the Landers there as well. For the Reds, they have got the Brumbies, they've got the Waratahs, the Fijian Drua, and the Hurricanes. So 3 away games in their next 4. Tough times for the Reds. Definitely after the loss to the Waratahs in the first round, but if they get a win here, gets them right back in the, I'd say, correct direction to go towards that top 8. They are bad, but they are too out there to be true. Okay, I'm not sure whether they're the same ones that I thought they were then, but yeah, I don't know. They got Carter, Sears Kane with him. Yeah, Leroy Carter and Amoni Narawa, that's a starting duo. And then, there's still so many other options. And don't get me wrong, Kieran Tomaflau, if they give him a little bit of time, will probably do all right. But I don't know. It just seemed to be a signing from the Chiefs that maybe they went, oh, we could sneak in here and grab him. Then, have him as a backup of a backup. Hello, morning, Sir Hamish. Says Darren Redden. But then saying that, maybe he's happy at the Chiefs. You got to ask yourself that question as a player. Am I happy playing predominantly as a reserves player? Or would I have rather been in a starting lineup for another team? And, we'll wait and see. We'll see the opportunities that he either gets this year or at the end of the season we'll go, right, maybe that wasn't the best choice, but at least he got a season of wages and got a bit of a chance to, I guess, learn a little bit more. No worries, Coach Jamie will sort it out. Year 5. I assume that's year right from Dion Sands. Will Carter Gordon be Wallabies number 10 at the Rugby World Cup? He's certainly probably going to put his name in the hat. I mean, my dad were drinking in the car today at Milford Beach, talking about Dan Hooker and his connections. What happens, says Nas. And the best ones wait out for a season or 2, says Ruby. I got pick slips for this 4 players put 1650 win 165. I got pick slips. So, as in, you've got 4 players who have to score right. Is that correct, Devon? Have I worked that one out for you? Is that the same? Maybe. The aerial contest game is certainly something that dwells on our mind when it comes to wingers nowadays, no matter how fast and skilled they are. Says Tanner 2. Looking too deep, H says they are an underdog pick. And Declan Meredith is the best 10 in Australia. Reminds me of Matt Giddo. Says the Sporting Kiwi. Yeah, the Brumbies up against the Blues. I would have loved to see Meredith up against Bowden. This game's still live, right? It is. Yes, still, we've got 40 minutes remaining. So who do you still need to score, Devon, in this case? Or who are you for, anyway? Because we have seen 4 tries so far, so you might have already picked them all. We need a DNA test on Curran. Says Invincibles. And what are your expectations of the All Blacks this year? Well, hopefully they get a coach. Like, that would be a good start. But I'm not that hopeful. I think that it's one of those ones that it'll be a bit of a shaky year that maybe builds into a decent 2027. But, like, to expect a new coach to just come in and be able to completely fix everything, definitely with the fact that the first part of it is going and touring South Africa after a few July internationals, like, that's not easy at all for any coach. And we have got there, who do you think is going to win? I think that if the Reds score next, they win this game. But I would say, like, if we see a Highlanders strike, could change. I'm winning automatically. Slips never fail. I don't know what slips are, though. So what are slips? Wallabies will beat France in round 16 or the quarterfinal. Says Clifford. I wish the next All Blacks coach can play Geordie at 15. I worry some people say France are right now the best team in the world. I still bet on the All Blacks beating them home or away. Says Darren. Just having a chat to Brad Davis, the Reds assistant coach here. Come on, the Highlanders. And Landers don't have a good record versus the Reds. No, they've lost their last 2 up against this Red side. 2 years prior to that, though, they won both the games. But it's not going to be easy. But then Super Rugby never really is. Like how is a new coach going to magically spread his fairy dust, make the All Blacks dominate the Springboks in South Africa? You're dreaming, mate, says Tanner 2. Yeah. And the thing is, the All Blacks will almost go into 2027, I think, as a slight, maybe not a massive underdog for that World Cup, but I think a slight one, with the fact that, like, I'd expect 5 losses this year for New Zealand. Maybe more. But that's the intriguing part, whether or not that then becomes only 1 or 2 losses in 27 and maybe a decent World Cup campaign thrown in there too. Will my South Africa choke again in the T20? I hope not. They're actually going really well at the moment, South Africa. And honestly, I think that out of every side currently, the way that the World Cup sits, it would be a surprise for them not to win. But they have the history of butchering it in the final hurdles. So that's, again, something that makes that such an intriguing semi-finals just around the corner. It'll be an All Blacks vs Wallabies final World Cup. Be interesting, wouldn't it? The game that could have been the opener could be the last one. Dwyer is our 12, says Shane. How many minutes until game over? Still 40 minutes. So, yeah, you've still got 40 minutes for your slips. I don't know what slips are still, though. Can you explain to me in, like, simple, like, non-gambler, like, terms of what a slip is? The current New Zealand team would need a coach for a start to get near to beating France, says Fleshin. Yeah, having someone in charge would help, wouldn't it? Jonah Nariki plays half. Highlanders currently on their goal line. That one's going to be a kick downfield from Cam Miller. Another choke. South Africa respectfully. Says Nazi Williams. As South Africans, we waited for the choke every World Cup. We are addicted to it by now. And yeah, I've actually learned that the World Cup semi-finals and final don't overlap with anything. So it would be very late to start covering the competition. But if you guys are keen for a bit of a cricket watch-along, maybe we've got to try and bring them back. I wouldn't mind Geordie at 15. We didn't already. I have so many options at 15. Now rolling Maul here for the Reds once more. They score the first of the half. Why is who's Harry Brown? I don't even know who that is. So it's when you buy off somebody to get free bread so you can win and never lose. You buy off somebody to get free bread. So is that like they have a bet and you buy their bet off them? Is that what you're saying? And then if they don't win, you don't buy their bet? Oh, it's a forward pass out wide from the Reds. So it will be now the scrum feed for the Highlanders. How are the Landers looking? They've been all right. They've had some bad moments throughout this game, though. There's no denying that. The Reds have looked strong on the counter-attack. All those are Springboks in the quarter. Mandela knows that. Says our underdog pick. They are just showing that replay of the forward pass out wide from Carter Gordon. 38 minutes left in this game. 6 handling errors from the Highlanders. 5 from the Reds. Quarterfinals, it's giving me 2023 Ireland versus All Blacks vibes, just 2 years out, says Tanner. Yeah, there's going to be some big matches. We got to wait a little bit. We got to wait till after the group stage, sadly, before we start to see some of those big head-to-heads. Yeah, you buy the slip. That's a winning bet. You get the money. How does that work? Surely that's not a thing, right? So, whose slip are you buying? And now, told to use it. Going off to Timothy. Tava Nawai bumps off Wershon and breaks through 3 more. Timothy Tava Nawai still going. Tries to go over the top of Ryan. Probably needed to pass that ball away. Lennox towards the corner. He's going to be dragged down and into touch. Great work from this Reds defence. What's the game after this, mate? I'll finish for the night. So this will be the last one for tonight. But what I have done is I have scheduled those Super Rugby live streams for tomorrow. So the Hurricanes versus Fiji is the early one. It's a big shot on Wershon there. Had a slight smile on his face before the frustration hit him from a group chat. This just sounds illegal to follow what you're saying at the moment. So I have so many questions, but I don't know whether I should ask them. And I'll shut up, Tava Nawai. You don't need to pass. Although if he had passed a bit earlier, maybe when Ryan was about to make contact with him, that possibly would have led to a try there. Go, mate, says Nazi Williams. What are the odds that England lose to Italy? Borthwick gets sacks and Robbo gets the job. It shouldn't be a high chance, but at the same time, you just don't know with Italy. 25 points down up against France was about what people would have, well, at least what I slightly predicted, if it was going to be a bit one-sided. A wonderful night going to the mosque. See you tomorrow. Enjoy the night. Look after yourself. Say hello to Andre Pollard, says Mohadeen. Now thrown over the top. Loose ball. Picked up by the Landers. Now off to the left. They still have time to get back into this game. 35 minutes is a long time in a game of rugby union. This is where they need someone like a Nariki or a Tangitau to really show some skill out on the wing. And it actually looks like they're starting to get situated towards maybe a bit of a wide backline movement here. Lennox goes away to Timothy Tava Nawai. In fact, they're going to go for the chip in behind instead. That probably wasn't the right choice, but it's led to a knock-on from Tim Ryan. Oh, and it almost would have been a penalty to Jacob Ratamatavuki-Nipkins had they played on. And it's now the scrum for the Highlanders. 45 minutes through. Is Pollard playing tomorrow night? I'm not sure yet. I hope so, because he's the one who I put in my thumbnail that I haven't scheduled yet. How far out, says the underdog pick. This one's 30 metres out, or maybe a little bit less, 28. Highlanders will win this game. Reds look terrible, says more gruel. And pray for me, Brocher, says Nazi. And Kieran is not the same with the Chiefs. He looks dumbfounded, says Invincibles. And it might just be something that takes a bit of time for him to be able to find his feet, but he might feel like he's wasted a season if he doesn't get much of a crack for the Chiefs. If Amoni Nuttall or Leroy Carter get injured, he'll probably be starting lineup most weeks, but without those two out, I think that he struggles to break the lineup. Now, Adam Lennox could use him as an impact off the bench, though, to be fair. Right, scrum held strong. On off to the right, Timothy Tava Nawai. He's got Tangitau with him. I don't think Timothy wants to pass to absolutely anyone. 10 metres out from the line now. Big collision with Ollie Haig. Now moving away to Ethan de Groot. 5 metres. Tangitau has moved from the right wing out to the left. He's lurking behind the breakdown. Keep a close eye on him when it comes to this next build-up. Jonah Lowe. Feel like they're going to try a switch here, the Highlanders. Tangitau is calling for them to go to the left. Jack Taylor. Sitting 5 metres out right now. It's going to be shifting right. Or at least it should be a little bit of a counter-ruck from the Reds just to disrupt it slightly. The Springboks camp starting next week? I did indeed. Yep. It's about a 3-day camp, isn't it? For the box balls there for Lennox. There's an advantage now, so they can fire absolutely everything into this. Lennox goes across to Miller. He's got Tangitau with him. Skips to Jacob Ratamaitavuki. Nepkins 4 pass out wide. They'll go back for the penalty. Tuma Falau slaying for the B squad. Chiefs, I think, at fullback, so maybe that's to try and give him a chance as a backup for Tino Nana Saturo. To be fair, what New Zealand team would Kieran take or make the starting lineup of currently? He wants to play for the All Blacks, which is why he made the switch. Hope Chiefs can inspire Kieran. He's invincible there. Right, straight in front of the post here. But it looks like they're calling for the scrum. I don't think they've used Tangitau enough in this matchup. Just thinking about that pace that he had the end of that game up against the Chiefs. I think backline movement out right, you score a try here if you're the Highlanders. If the ball reaches Tangitau's hands. Now, that's not actually a prediction because I think they might go with something different here. Red batteries are flat, says Ruby. They haven't come out firing in the second half, have they? It's been all Highlanders for now. Our red scrum is dominant though, says Bailey. I can't see what's happening, but come on the Landers, says Jesse. They're currently 5 metres out from the Reds line. Big opportunity to get something going. They've got Timothy Tavatavanawai and Jonah Nariki on the short side. On the slightly spread out side of the field, they have got Cam Miller. Oh, too much movement, says Nick Berry at scrum time. Great call, says the underdog pick. Right, they're going to have another reset. But they've got Jonah Lowe, Jacob Ratamaitavuki, Nepkins in the midfield just having a bit of a conversation. This ball may not even get as far out as Tangitau if they move it to the right. I mean, a couple men in that midfield who would much rather score the try themselves than get it out to the wing. The Chiefs ain't very good at recruiting. And the Highlanders are like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Red scrum is looking shaky. Bench front rows. I could play a major part later. Yeah, this Red side just haven't hit their stride throughout the second half. 9 minutes in, which I realise the scoreboard still has the halftime break. There we go. And now scrum's gone in. Highlanders holding strong. Now a bit of an extra push there. They've got the penalty advantage. Looking off to the left. Well handled by Gordon. What's going on? And the Landers looking good for a try. I think they should if they go with what I mentioned. And it's not like I don't know better than the coach, Jamie Joseph, or anything like that. I just feel like that's a part of the game so far that we haven't actually seen utilised yet by the Highlanders, is that wide channel of Tangitau. Lockie Anderson can sometimes be 50-50 with his tackling. So I feel like if you can isolate him out on that side, although I think they've made the switch. That might be strategic because of that Anderson defence. He's actually marking up with... Oh, no, sorry. They've got them on the other wings, don't they? So it is Tim Ryan versus Tangitau, which I would still back Tangitau to go over, definitely because Ryan is situated next to the post currently. Fakatava has time. Where's Thomas Lavanini? Why no game time? He's playing in the secondaries for the Highlanders at the moment by the looks of it. Or at least he did in that first week. Right, another scrum feed. Scrum reset. It's going to use up a bit more time, which isn't a bad thing for the Reds. They do need that breather. And Jack Taylor and Safa-Moa battling it out for the third hooker in the All Blacks. So here's a Sporting Kiwi. South Africa are unlucky. They've got India. So here's Invincibles. Yeah, that's the way it's working out at the moment, isn't it? In terms of the semi-final. That would be a huge one, to be fair. But now ball. About to go in once more. And also if South Africa win against Zimbabwe, they're going through to the final. I think they're already confirmed, South Africa. They're through to semis now, and so are England. Those are the two confirmed sides. Through to the next stage. Right, solid scrum. Highlanders have to use it. It looks like, again, they're going to go to the side where he is a little bit more strong with his passing, Lennox. And now he's going to go to the left. Passes off to TK Howden. It seems like the Highlanders had a plan the whole time there that they wanted to use, and the Reds shut it down each and every time. But now 7 out. Lennox They're using the forwards for now. Lucas Casey, oh, he's going to go through and scores the try between the posts. The Highlanders, it was a steady build-up. They finally get through and get back into this contest. Over there, Safa is a beast. What about Tyrone Thompson on his first game back? Bro was playing like it was a rugby league. Says Johnny. A nice run from Lucas Casey there. Finish that one off. Just breaks through Lukan Salakai Lotto. And the try has been cleared as well. Too many hookers in New Zealand, says Nas. Yeah, it's nicely finished by Casey. He had a bit of work to do. Let's go, says Jesse. Now right back in it. I mentioned how if the Highlanders scored first in the second half, they had a very good chance in this game, and they have just created that chance. Should make it 19-14. Yeah, too easy. Highlanders are the better team with a much better coach, says Mulgrew. Lucas Casey, All Blacks Bolter, says the Sporting Kiwi. All on K Road, man, says Paul. I like Thompson. At least he tried it at Newcastle. Now 14 points to 19. The conversion from Cam Miller. That was just poor defence from the Reds side that have done relatively well just out from their goal line. It made it a bit too easy to break through there. George Bell may lose a spot to Taylor. I can't see McAllister getting a shot again. Yeah, see, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because McAllister, I just don't know if he gets in a non-Razor side. And when is the semi-final? I think it's on about Tuesday or somewhere around there. Maybe actually Wednesday or Thursday. One of the days of next week, though. That one's going to be kicked downfield. Nicely taken by the Reds. Great try left from the scrum and then back to Casey centre field. He's consistently a difficult bloke to tackle. Jacob Ratamaitavuki Nepkins. Oh, he's going to try and run this one out from the back. Going for the kick in behind, maybe a 50-22. No, still there. Covering at the back was Carter Gordon. He's looking for a 50-22 of his own. He's got too much on that. He's going to pull up, though, just outside the Highlanders' goal line. Miller looking for the touchline. A very good clearing kick in the end. Takes it back towards halfway. Can you do South Africa Zimbabwe? Will depend on what's happening Monday morning, because I think that game's on Monday, 2:30 a.m. for us here, I think. I'll have a quick look. Of course, England play New Zealand just in a few hours. I won't be able to cover that one due to coaching. Oh, no, sorry. It's the 10:30 p.m. game on Sunday night, followed by India versus West Indies to determine who goes through. We'll see. It should be a one-sided game, though. South Africa should win that comfortably. Thompson has a bright future for Shaw. Doesn't sound as cool when I say it, does it, Johnny? Now we're Sean. Goes to Gordon. Paisami tackled midfield. 25 minutes left. The Reds, they felt in control at halftime, but now this game has well and truly changed. It's a deflection off the boot of Timothy Tavatanawai. The Reds now will have the line out. McAllister can't even make the Chiefs 23, so he definitely ain't making the All Blacks. That one line-out throw ended his All Blacks career. And fair play, mate. People like you keep our game good. Just in for a couple and went, well done, lad, of what you do. Back out in this rain, wind, etc. to trim some shrubs. Well, hopefully it goes well, Dennis. It doesn't sound like it's the most pleasant weather there. But yeah, we're going to be live all throughout the weekend. We've got Super Rugby as well as the URC. Tangi Tau cuts back inwards. Can't quite find the offload to Jonah Lowe there. Back to the left now. The hands of Casey. Little chip attempted in behind from Miller. Jacob Ratamaitavuki Nepkins wants to bounce of the ball. It's an awkward one. Lennox kicks it out of the hands of the Reds player, but it sits up for Anderson. Bit of a counter ruck attempted again there. And that's a nice sell of the dummy from him. Or was that through the gate? I don't know about that. Played on the ground almost from the Reds, but the turnover there for the Highlanders. Now Lennox looking off to the short side. Goes to Caleb Tangitau. Tackled by Harry Wilson. Been a little bit quiet in his return match. Across to the left, they're calling for the offside, but I don't think the referee's going to oblige. And the ball's stolen on the ground by the Reds. Now Hunter Paisami out to Josh Fluke. Going to be a foot race, sorry. It's looking like Nariki. Oh, he was on the touchline there, Jana Nariki. He's angry at the touch judge. He shouldn't be because he stepped on the touchline twice. Now line out here for the Reds. 5 metres out. They've decided to take it quickly. There's space here for Tim Ryan. Cuts back inwards. Oh, they have to score this, the Reds. Or have they blown the opportunity? Ryan dragged down 3 metres short. This is the chance. Wershon off to Lukan Salakai Lotto. Gets over the line and the Reds are in for try number 4. They saw the opportunity. They made the most of it. And that's game, says user. I think they're going to check some stuff, though, by the looks of it. Nick Berry is not completely certain. All right, there's just ask of foul play. Sounds like they're not going to go for it. And, yep, and that's game, says user. Let's get Kiwi Lads to 100. Like and subscribe, fellow human. He deserves it. He works hard, says Nazi. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're back with 5 live streams tomorrow, 3 of which are already scheduled. The URC ones I will schedule before Super Rugby tomorrow, as they are going to be all throughout the night. In fact, I might even schedule them after this. Might as well. Was it a good finish from Lukan Salakai Lotto? That angle made it look like it was short. But they didn't show an angle where it showed the try, but you'd assume he was over. Wershon misses that one away to the left, making the score now 24 points to 14. 10-point lead here for the Reds. And did that look short to the line for anyone else? Yep. Looked like it was short from the behind angle anyway. Then you'd assume that after that he got it through and on, maybe. And Reds were offside before, says Highlanders fan. Now 22 minutes left, 10 points separating these two teams. Lukan Salakai Lotto, that is his first try of the season. He's got his belly out for the camera. Oh well, we can't win now. And a magician plays in that zone. One's going to be kicked off by Rizan Pasitoa. And Lukan Salakai Lotto, big 2-man tackle on him. Where's Tangitau tonight? They're just not going to him. And he's had the ball probably about 3 times, but they're giving the ball to him when he's heavily marked. Which is quite interesting. I wonder whether or not when Fakatava comes on, nothing against Lennox, I think he's done a great job. But I do also feel like when Fakatava comes on, maybe Tangitau will start getting more of the ball too. Lukan Salakai Lotto is a beast, physical and abrasive ball carrier. Says, was there from Johnny, now looking for the kick behind from Carter Gordon, all awkward rolling ball. It's the foot of Rizam Pasitoa. Now bouncing, almost goes into touch. Oh, beautiful step from the Reds fullback. Chance again on attack. When your eyesight not that good and you get to hear how you're doing these games, even if you don't know half of the teams, you still stay around to hear the passion put into the games. Just thanks, mate, says Dennis. No worries at all. And that's the thing. It's pretty awesome the amount of people who, for games that have 2 teams that they don't really know or don't care about, the amount of people who still pop in to say hi is absolutely awesome. And Fakatava on now, please. And please say Miller isn't off. I don't... Oh, no, he might be for Rizam Pasitoa, actually, because I see Jonah Lowe is still out there. So, yeah, I think that Miller's off. And that was something that really hurt the Highlanders last week, those kicking opportunities late in the game. And back to reality for the Highlanders. Fakatava on now, and I do see that he has made his way on. Oh, no, in fact, Rizam Pasitoa is on for Timothy Nawai, according to that graphic. Kicks are going to be missing. Now run forward from Latu. 15 metres out from the line. Hi there, the Konnichiwa lads, says Dorney. Now Fraser McWright, he did start this game off with a try for this Reds team. Looking to use their back line step. No, Timothy Nawai is still on. So I believe it is Miller who's been taken off, playing the ball from the ground. Wershon smashed down by Soane Vakina, kicked him behind. Fakatava waiting for the bounce of the ball. It's a really ugly one, and the try is scored by the Reds. The ball did not want to sit into the hands of Fakatava, and Latu says thank you very much for that one. Lennox, great potential, link play and decent pass. Hopefully shows more vision creativity, only had a couple of Super Rugby games. Well, Reds in again, they certainly are. And that's probably now going to be the game. And they play more expensive with Fakatava on. Yeah, that is the worst possible bounce of the ball that Fakatava could have ever had for his first touch of the day. It just did not want to sit in his hands. And then he finally regathered. And it was taken off him by Latu. Tell him to run it up first. Says our underdog pick. Ali's Kiss Attack on fire. Aussie coach versus All Blacks coach. And Dave Rennie for the All Blacks now, says the Sporting Kiwi. And the Reds bench, immediate difference. Yeah, they've got some great players come off that bench. I think there's still a couple more that can make their way on. But 31-14 now. Score in favour of the Reds. Oh, they were just checking to see whether or not there were arms in a tackle there. I think that might have been for the clean out on Wershon. Yeah, that was actually Dalgunu who went for that kick in behind too. Why is CCC not the New Zealand team sponsor? I actually don't know. They sponsor, or they used to sponsor the shorts, didn't they? Or is that just the Canterbury shorts in general? Go on high, nice take. From Jacob Ratamaitavuki Nepkins, just inside of the Highlanders half. 3 members of the Reds getting in that breakdown. They swap Jamie Joseph out for Rennie. Cook Island Cuzzy says, it was there from Johnny. Box kicks in, coming, says Jason. Ball is there, going off to the left-hand side. Fakatava goes to TK Howden. Going close to the sideline. Code of compliance, says Johnny. Now kick coming from Falau Fakatava. Going aerial. Jonah Nariki chasing after this one. He didn't have a lot of effort in the chase though, uncontested. And the Reds taking it. 17 minutes left in this game. Going to wrestle that ball out. Oh, that might have been a loose ball. I think it was actually from the Highlanders kicking it around a little bit. 1 second, we'll go like that. There we go. Now, Gordon plays half, goes to Luka. Oh, tell you what, they don't like Luka and Salakai a lot. They're trying to put in the massive hits on him. How do we have close games versus last year's finalists? We can't do anything versus the Reds, says Highlanders fan, and there's going to be a penalty awarded to the Reds. Awesome, Johnny. I always like to know how your sons are going. I'm not being nosy. Just want our kids to do well. Like I always say, Warriors up the road. We kicked way too much as a joke, says Highlanders fan, but now offside against the Highlanders. 16 minutes remaining. They're just talking about the humidity that these two sides are dealing with a little bit here. I'll be happy with that full-time whistle soon, the Reds. They do currently have the bonus point, though. So if this game was to end now, they will get the full 5 from the match. These Queensland's Reds doing well. Let's go the Reds, says Fetu. England already through to the semis because so I believe they will drop this game versus the Black Caps. Either that or they'll stop the Black Caps from getting through. But yeah, it's an important match. And even if New Zealand were to lose it, they just have to make sure they lose it close, so that net run rate doesn't get destroyed. Casey goes across the Rizan Patsitoa. I do see there Tenuelu Talia is now on the field. I assume that's for Nariki, I would guess. Lowe gets back up and has another crack, but Dalgunu straight on the ball. Brilliant turnover from the Reds once more. And just getting a lot of the ball late. That's a good kick in behind as well. Thank you for that. Can I have a shout out? Shout out to you, Fetu. We have got the who you got winning in the opening game versus the Crusaders versus Waratahs. Tell you what, Waratahs are looking all right this year. But you'd have to think that the Crusaders should get the job done. Is Cricket World Cup coming up this year? Says Tanner. Cricket World Cup currently happening. The ODI one, I think, is it next year? I could be wrong, though. Maybe there is another one. But I think it's next year. Maybe. Just seeing there, New Zealand playing England in test matches in June. They'll be good. That one's going to be kicked into touch. There's some Christoph in that water bottle, says Nazi. And why are the Reds called the Reds? And why are the Blues called the Blues? Just their name, innit? But there's not too many other sides around the place that are named after colours that I can think of. in terms of their full name being a colour. I don't see anyone called the Oranges. What else? The Greens? Is there a Greens team somewhere? Surely someone's called the something Greens. It's not the best name ever, but it's not the worst. It could be a lot worse than that, actually. Now Vakino looking for the steal on the breakdown. Reds not able to get it this time. Now why can I pass from Tenuelu to Leah? Charge down. Caleb Tangitau cleans it up now. Tackled by Anderson. I don't know if it's tactically as to why this is happening, but Tangitau's finding himself behind the ruck a lot here. And I just wonder whether or not that's because the ball's not going out to his wing, so he's getting sick of not getting the ball. And go test comment. NRC Green Rockets. Says Lumi there. Thanks, Kiwi, you're the best. Says Fetu. And sailing is another sport. Says the AI underdog pick. Now Pakatava goes away to Tenuelu Talia. A little bit high. The tackle on him. They'll go back for the penalty. Played on the ground from Jeffrey Tuamunga Allen. My girl's playing Rugby League 2. It's her first year, so we'll need practice heaps. She's getting better at training. A different story playing the game and getting hit, says Johnny. And don't know about the Reds, maybe. Rich McGoll for the All Blacks head coach. Dan Carter is the attack coach. Corey Jane and Izzy Dag as full-time high ball coaches, says Chris. Kicked into touch now by the Highlanders. I think this is going to be more of a forwards-orientated plan here. But yeah, just the ball to Nariki and also Tangitau hasn't been efficient today whatsoever. We're all going to start somewhere, Johnny. Now you got to get out there after work and train them harder. Now thrown in. It's over the top of the line out, but it sits up for Rijan Pasitoa. And in about 10 metres from the line. Again, the Reds relentless in the breakdowns, trying to get those steals. 5 metres out. Oh, ball comes out for Falau Pakatava. Pops it up. Fakatava goes off to Tenuelu Talia. Gets back up to his feet. He's 3 metres short, right, Fakatava. Does he fire this wide? No, instead they'll use the forwards more here for the Highlanders. Fakatava passing one more out to Low, maybe needed. Another support runner. There's a new advantage, I think that was, from Nick Berry. Yep, there is the penalty advantage. Right, they need to fire this wide. Ollie Haig, though, is going to go for the carry. Tangitau is waiting out on the wing. Is he finally going to get that ball? No, they just tie it up there for the Reds, and the penalty awarded to the Highlanders again. Akiulad, who's going to win? I think the Reds have got this one. It's just whether or not they keep their bonus point. But similar to what we saw in the last game, right, they're going for the kick into the corner here for the Highlanders. Careful, Johnny, your girlfriend is a better tackle. Then you don't ever try to upset her. And HIGHLANDERS showing grit, says Dunk. Yeah, I'm still confused about the tactics, though. A little bit. I can't think of a time they've actually fired it out to this far wing. Yep, Sawani Vakina throws it in. Going across there. Tenuelu to Leah. Couple metres short again. Fakatava moving it on to Lucas Casey. He might almost get that one down. They'll check it, but I think there was a grounding. I give it to Chubba Nawai, says Lander, and also really scratching my head about the Highlanders, says Jason. I've yet to see a good spear, says the AI underdog pick. Right, Nick Berry didn't get a grounding pass to Tangitau. He's obviously annoyed someone. Even passing it to Jacob Ratamaitavuki Nipkins. They seem to be avoiding their back three, which makes sense as to why they're losing by so much. Oh no, it was actually TK Howden who almost got over. That's down, I think. It looks like it's a good grounding for TK Howden. Greatest commentator Hamish, thanks, I'm off to sleep. So yeah, we will possibly see you tomorrow. First game is going to be happening at 4:25 PM New Zealand time. That is Fiji and Roa versus the Hurricanes. I work in the healthcare sector, and good to see you up. Keep yourself hydrated. Some of the players' names are hard to pronounce. You pronounce their names very well. Thank you very much, Melissa. And also, thank you very much for what you do in the healthcare sector too. Not an easy job with long hours, and dealing with public is difficult. Oh, they've called it held up here. That's I think he might have got the grounding, but we'll see. They've ruled it as no. I think the commentators have even said they've got away with one. TK Howden cannot believe that he has not had that try given. But it's the way it sits. And we have got there, that was a try all day. It looked pretty good, didn't it? Looked like he was able to get it down. Right, 10 minutes left. Is Tangitau going to get the ball in the second half? What a double arm amputee player with the most penalised player in rugby history. I'm not even going to answer that. This is more right game in history, or the most right game in history. Robbery, says Broderick. Bro is an honorary South African and Fijian. Bro is talented. And Shocker says that's race. Right, it's out now to this right-hand side. Caleb Tangitau steps round one. Then tackled by Bryle. They're told to get out of there, the Reds. Oh, slapped by his own teammate. As he maybe got a little bit too keen to try and get that steal. Right, Fakatava. Away to the left-hand side. Tenuelu to Leah. Back across to the right this time. Goes to TK Howden, in behind Rejan Pasitoa. Now finds their hands of Jonah Lowe, puts in the fend. He doesn't like passing either. The Highlanders have a little bit of a problem that I'm starting to see here. And I don't know whether it's a them thing or a Jamie Joseph thing, but it's going to cost them their penalty for the Reds again in the breakdown. It's Filippo Dungunu again. And 5 minutes late, bro. I've all 20 for some Stonies, says Johnny. And this ref is one playing fantasy, two has money on the Reds. And no plan B, says Jesse. And go Caleb, says Nazi. And go the Reds, says Rakula there. But yeah, Filippo Dungunu just on it straight away. He had like 4 Highlanders players all around him. And somehow his arm just kind of sneaks right through and gets over that ball and doesn't let it go. 8.5 minutes left on the clock here. The Reds, they'd like one more try just to fully secure that bonus point. It almost got taken away from them. That TK Howden try. They go land to spoil the ref's party, says Ruby. Now line out chance. Pritchard or Geordie Barrett for rugby fantasy team. Oh. Wait, is Pritchard playing 10 or is he playing 13 this week? Now, on the halfway line. Being told to use it, Kalani. Thomas thought about going. And said, we'll boot this one up high. And Barrett says the AI underdog pick. Landers go no connection link. Oh, another drop ball from the Reds. From the Landers. And now passed on the outside. Kalani, that looked forward. But the ref says, meh, we'll let it slide. And it's going to be the try here for the Reds. Or at least they'll probably find a way to award it. It looks like Nick Berry says he's got it held up. It also looked like there might have been about 1 or 2 forward passes in the build-up. Everyone dimensional rugby from the Highlanders, not surprised. Says Broderick. Yeah, it just seemed like everything was the plan of just going for 1 or 2 passes and then hit the ball up. Highlanders desperately need a running 10. When it's been Hurley back 6 weeks or so. Right, held up in goal is the original call. I think they're being greedy with the ball to impress the next AB's coach. I like the fact that what we are checking is just the grounded on the arm. They can't award this one. If they've... Okay, it's going to remain as no try. Going to be the goal line dropout. And if they give this a try, I'm going to be pissed, says Highlanders. Right, no clear evidence to change the on-field decision. So that would have meant if it was an on-field try, I think it would have stood. And name someone else. Says the AA underdog pick. Mate, that was forward as, says Nazi. It was, but only some forward passes are being called in this game. Big shot again. The collision. 7 minutes remaining now. Reds still have that bonus point. Harry McLaughlin Phillips gets round a couple, including one of his teammates, who he runs straight into, Kalani Thomas. Now away to the left. Jock Campbell gets around the defence. Now passes off now to the big man. It was just George Blake, I believe. And then number 17 jersey. Oh, Filippo Dungunu. He's going to try a cross-field kick. Mark called by Nariki. Takes the quick tap. Passes off to Jacob Ratamaitavuki Nepkins. That was a bit anticlimactic. He's just been tackled 25 metres from his line, and then straight on the ball. McBride almost got the steal. In fact, he has got the steal. And the Reds back in possession. That was terrible from the Highlanders, and the Reds are going to make them pay for it. Dungunu trying to sneak through. McBride is world-class 7. He's been great this game. He's got multiple steals. So where is Thomas Lavanini? They're leaving him out for now. He's been playing in the secondary team, but you'd have to assume that he's going to be through at some stage. Have you met any of your real mods in real life? I've spoken to them on voice calls. One second, we'll go back to that because that was almost another try for the Reds, but Risen Pasitoa manages to clean that ball up. I haven't talked to them in person per se, but I've talked to them outside of streams, if that makes sense. Some of them, not all. I think maybe only about 2 or 3. Actually, that might be a lie. I think I've heard Sebastian's voice once. Maybe. The Landers just seem unalert. If that's a word, I'll take it as one. They haven't got that urgency. They're just a little bit casual out there, and it's costing them because this Red side are hungry. They've found their second win that was lacking at the start of this half, and now they're starting to get into it. Oh, they've taken the quick line out there, the Highlanders. It was all set and ready to go. They're going away to the left-hand side. Jonah Nariki kicks it downfield and again just gives it straight back to the Reds to have another attacking chance. And instead, they will go for the kick back for this Reds team. Nice take inside of the 22 from Pasitoa. And scored by the Aussie Lucies. Says Shane. Pasitoa kicks back downfield. With 5 minutes remaining on the clock, the Reds will do this every day of the week. Have you seen how most mods look like? I've seen some of them, but not all once again. Kick down the middle. Lets it bounce here. This has to hit a post or it's going dead from the Highlanders off the kick. Oh no, just pulls up at the in-goal area. So Lockie Anderson now going to run this one back to 10 metres out from his line. I think it deflected off a hand, did it? Oh no, side of the boot from Anderson. I hope my son can play Māori reps and play Toa Samoa at PAC. And also stop kicking it, says Highlanders fan, and stop kicking it, says Shane. That has had a short turnaround travel. 2 hard games prior, they lack in energy. Says Invincibles, but a good day from Lukan Salakai Lotto. Once again shows his belly. He did score himself a try. Force will smash the Highlanders. Now, cross to Tanuelu Talia. Middle of the park here. Again, Fraser McWright looking for that steal. Fakatava goes across the low. He tries to sneak through. I don't think I've seen him pass the ball once today. Not a bad thing sometimes, but in this case, I think when you've got Tava Nawai and Jonah Lowe, that just means that no one in the back 3 gets the ball at all. Now, sitting 10 metres out, Fakatava calling for players to get into the position on the left-hand side, looping around with Sawani Vakina. How many kicks this game? Chronic from the Landers so far. And are the Landers bad? They have played badly today. I don't think they're a bad side in general, but just today has not been their day. Trying to go for the steal again in the breakdown. The Reds are actually quite relentless when it comes to that. Now, Rishan Pasitoa running it sideways. Needs the pass. Doesn't. And drops the ball. Once again, although it's gone backwards, I've said. Fakatava goes off to Jonah Lowe, out to Caleb Tungitel, close to the sideline. Not a lot of support with him. He's currently 3 metres short. Fakatava, they've got 3 minutes remaining on the clock here, taking their time, looking for that pass. Good quick hand. Sean Withy reaches out. He's got it down. And they score the try, the Highlanders. That takes away the Reds' bonus point. So many Kiwis living in Queensland. I think you're back. Oh, no. Are we checking this one? Yeah, they are, I think. Just making sure that he got it on the line. It'll be interesting from a coaching perspective how the Highlanders progress through the season. Let's get a bonus point. See, as a Highlanders fan, yeah, if they do manage to get this try, and it is... Oh, okay, they've said here Sean Withy's knocked this on. They've said it was in the palm of the hand, and then it rolls down. Yeah, no, he's dropped that one, Sean Withy. Didn't have the hand on the ball, so that will be no try. And can't be doing Jamie Joseph any favours, having his team playing dumb rugby. So here's Jason and Bruce, here's Highlanders fans. So yeah, disallowed try for Sean Withy. It is also raining in Queensland by the looks of it now. But that's probably, again, another case of a player trying to score a try that didn't really have the best chance of scoring it. He's still a couple metres out. They're just saying here, the Highlanders for now have not cancelled that Reds bonus point. I see Highlanders deserve to lose for not passing the ball to Tangitau Foolish. There's Chris Lord. Now running it back here. Oh, that's a big collision. He's just really knocked the daylights out of Fraser McWright. Looks like he's going to stay down for a little bit of time. Another big run from TK Howden. I've never seen a more unsure refereeing performance, says Broderick. Yeah, there's been a lot that's been checked throughout this game. Oh, that's close to Bryle. That's very close, and Bryle gets the penalty. I could be Rennie and Larkham. Oh, hang on. Okay, they're just saying that Seven needs to have some time to be looked at, but not something cynical. No foul play is the call. Was it not head on head? Okay, they've said no foul play as it was unavoidable. There's been some pretty unavoidable ones that have had yellow cards, but that is the ruling that they've gone with. And that is the one that's going to stand. 80 seconds remaining now. The amount of kicking is insane, says Scrotimus. And awesome calling brother listening from work, says Jesse. And it is greatly appreciated you being here. We have got the 3 matches tomorrow, as well as the 2 games after that, which are going to be the URC matches between the Bulls and the Sharks, and the Stormers versus Lions. You have to use your weapons to win a war. Lesson for the Highlanders review on Monday. Get Andy Farrell and the All Blacks coaching team. Now, Josh Nasser throws it in, taken in the Reds line out. Just the 45 seconds remaining. And if the game stands the way that it is, they will receive the full 5 points available from this game. Kalani Thomas to the short side. Thought about an offload, driven back that little bit further. Highlanders told that they aren't allowed to go for that ball. Had the Landers go far in this tournament. Says Sush. Yeah, looks like the Reds are happy enough just going phase after phase here to close out this contest. All right, the ball's still in the ruck. Sean Withy told to get out of it by Nick Berry. Kalani Thomas, 10 seconds now on the clock. And they still cannot quite get the position here. The Highlanders, it will be a frustrating finish to the game. Kalani Thomas. Oh, okay, they had a penalty for offside, so they'll go back for it anyway. They take the tap, the Reds, they kick it out, and they win the game 31 points to 14 against the Highlanders. Right, tonight's refereeing and TMO has been very sus. Reds the better team, but some odd calls against the Landers. Says Studs Race. Force can beat the Highlanders next weekend in Dunedin. Who do the Highlanders have next week? They have got the Western Force as their next contest. No features in the Landers loose forwards. You wouldn't think it, would you? Like, we hardly saw anyone going for the ball in every single breakdown. The Reds were in there trying to get the steal. Like, yeah, I don't know what the plan was for the Highlanders, and I'll be very curious to know what their game plan was heading into this match, because outside of maybe 10 minutes of this game, there wasn't really any signs of one. WF was that, says Ruby. Force will beat them, says the Sporting Kiwi. And also read much better than the Landers, says Duncan. Highlanders defence went backwards tonight with a bit of sympathetic reffing for the Reds. That's the game I was Carter Gordon. He went all right in the early stages, but I don't think he had a massive game. But I also think that he's probably going to go quite well as the season progresses. And fair game. It is sus how Nick Berry is always the ref of Reds home games, considering he used to play for them, says Bailey. And back-to-back streams, big up Hamish Legend, same time tomorrow. Yep, so we have got that early stream, 4:25 is when that one's going to be starting up. Then from there, we've got the game after with the Chiefs versus Crusaders, then Brumbies versus Blues, and then 2 games of the URC as well. I'll probably schedule those URC streams tomorrow morning, I'd say. Might be the time that it works out. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all for the next one.